All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So tonight I got a chance to go see Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and this is pretty much the late night ramblings of a tired man. My thoughts, my review, and my comments about this film. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna start this video off by making a slight comparison to the first film and the second film. Now, the first film was overall better than the second film, but the second film had better parts throughout, especially the final act. I feel like the final act of Fury of the Gods was considerably the best part of both films. Now, the first film had a slightly better story, but the second film, I feel like, had more of the heart of what I feel like Billy Batson is. It was definitely much more comedic, much more childish in its antics, and it definitely stepped up the goofiness in some of the scenes and some of the aspects of the film. But it wasn't a detriment to the film. I thought some of the parts were actually pretty funny. Some of them worked really well. The cast actually has some really good chemistry throughout. And speaking of the cast, I was watching this film and I was looking at the actress that played Mary, and I'm like, why is she the only one that looks the same? It kind of took me out of the film a little bit because I'm sitting here wondering why the actress stayed the same. And this was before I knew that the same actress that played the younger version of Mary, or the non superpower version of Mary, was also cast to play the superpower version of Mary. And I didn't really find that out until I started doing a little bit of research, looking at the scores and some other things about the film. Um, I'm like, she's the same person. They can't tell this is their daughter throughout the film, and that kind of just took me back a little bit. But it still was good. Like, the chemistry between all the cast members were great. And Freddie, when he Shazams, where does his cane go? Like, in multiple portions of the film, when he Shazams, his cane just disappears. So I don't know what or where or what happened with the physics of this, but they definitely turned the volume up to level 10 with that. But the film itself overall was good. Like I said, especially the final act. This was definitely a hero sacrifice, and it did everything that it needed to do for the final act of the film. It brought everything full circle. It had some redemption. It had some cameos. It had just the same heart and feel that Billy Batson brought from the first film into the second film. And Zachary Levi still and is such a great cast for this role. I don't think I could have picked a better actor to pull this off, and he is killing every single bit of it. There is a bit of a pacing issue in the film for me. Like, I feel like the story itself wasn't as tight as the first film in comparison to some of the other DC films out there. Shazam knows that it's a goofy comedy and it leans heavily into it. But I feel like some of the scenes that we got played out a little too long, and the villains in this second film, I mean, were okay, right? But I think the film could have been a better film had, say, we got Black Adam as the villain. Now, with James Gunn taking over DC, all this stuff is pretty much null and void at this point because he is rebooting everything from the ground up. And so we don't know where these films stand. Well, we know that Superman's gone. We know that Wonder Woman's gone. We don't know where Shazam falls in this. It's up in the air right now. But as of right now, there is nothing on the slate for Shazam, for Black Adam within the James Gunn universe at the moment. We're gonna get a Superman, we're gonna get the Blue Beetle, and we're getting Flashpoint. Now, with that said, Flashpoint could also help with some of these films that we want to see coming into the DC universe that James Gunn is trying to put together. So it's basically a hard reset for the DC universe that we're going to get after Flashpoint. So who knows where or when Shazam could fit into this new universe. So I'm looking forward to see what they want to put forward, what they want to bring to the table as far as just these slates of movies going through the future. Now, I guess this technically would be considered phase one of the James Gunn's DC universe, but we'll see just how much he changes, how much he brings to the table, the types of stories that he wants to tell, the tone of the films that he wants to bring to this universe. But Shazam! Fury of the Gods, if I had to put a score on it, it's a solid 7 out of 10. It could have been better. Like I said, the villains served their purpose, but I think the film would have been better if we would have gotten, say, a Black Adam as the villain for this film, which after the first one, this was before they brought out The Rock's Black Adam. I thought that the villain for the second one would have been Black Adam. And I think it would have been just amazing to see Billy take on someone that is far, far, far superior in strength, speed, and tenacity to him, as opposed to daughters of the daughters of who? Like, I don't even remember the villains. The Daughters of Atlas. Jesus Christ. I just watched it. But overall, the film was a 7. Could have been better. Don't know where it falls into the universe going forward, but I'm willing to stick it out and see. But before I get out of here, let's take a look at some of the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and let's see where this film lands with the audience, with the critics, shall we? So, as of right now, Shazam! Fury of the Gods has a 54% Rotten Tomatoes score for the critics and an 85% score for the audience. Let's take a look at some of these. Let's look at all right, Daniel Gonzalez, the cinematic reel. The familiar bond remains stronger than ever in the movie. That's not breaking the mold, but follows the trajectory of its predecessor as a charming and delightful cinematic escape. I would agree. It had the same feel as the first one, and it didn't really do anything different to move it forward. It kind of just stayed in its safe space. Andrea Chase, a big bubble of adventure overflowing with wisecracks, yada, 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 mythical creatures. Same scenario. Let's get to some of the rottens. Kevin Mayer. In a drama, this dumb and unaware, the buffed up makeover seems like an insult to the same inadequate outsiders and weedy minorities the film pretends to champion. What? Thomas Floyd. Unfortunately, the new sequel proves an adage lightning doesn't strike twice. Okay. Kevin Carr. Too derivative from previous superhero films and too goofy to present believable characters. This movie is lost in the crack between DC slates. Well, the movie itself doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows that it's goofy, and it leans into that. And I can appreciate that for it. It wasn't trying to be too serious, wasn't trying to be anything other than a goofy Shazam film, which is the same thing that we got in the first film. But in this one, they definitely toned up the goofiness much, much, much more. What else we got? Shazam, Fury of the Gods, strains too hard for laughs, which repeatedly tests the patience as gags fall flat with thunderbolt force. Well, that is unfortunate. The filmmakers have clearly asked themselves how to make the sequel bigger, not better. Mind you, just bigger. Well, it definitely is that. It's also fairly stale. In parts. I would say it's stale in parts. But let's take a look at some of the ratings by the audience. Let's see. Because that's what really matters. That's people putting their money where their mouth is. Outstanding family movie. The plot was interesting and the story has a lot of heart. A lot of heart, yes. Plot, not so much interesting in my opinion. The first film's plot was a lot better. The dive into Greek mythology was fascinating. Yeah, maybe. I really liked Shazam as a hero. Very humorous. Not a fan of the length of the movie. Yes! Holy shit. The film felt like it kept going on and on and on, which is one of the things that I had about the pacing of the film. The problem was the pacing. Calypso was kind of forgettable. Yes, the villain probably could have been better had it been Black Adam. Easily. Surprisingly decent DC movie. Can't wait for the next installment. We will not be getting the next installment because James Gunn has taken over. Great sequel. I really loved the first one, so I was looking forward to this one. And I can say it delivers in what you want if you like the original, and more comedy and visuals held up in this movie without being overpowering. I would agree with some of those. The pacing, the length of the film, a little bit of the staleness, the unforgettable villain for sure. Like I said, I would have loved to got a Black Adam, but alas, we didn't. But an 85 audience score, it's not bad. It's definitely just one of those films that you just get some popcorn, sit back and relax and just enjoy the ride. But that's it for the video, guys. 7 out of 10. We'll see what DC has to offer going forward. But like I said, that's it. My name's Lincoln. This is the RPG Show. Like, comment, sub. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.